So without any further ado, I'll give you Mr. Jim Berkman, the head coach of Salisbury University.
Thank you, Drew. All right, my objective here tonight is to kind of just like talk you through some things and some general things in regard to the recruiting process that I think kind of to fit almost anybody at any level. The first thing I would suggest, and I can get this to Drew and put this up on the website, there's like 10 components to it, so if you want to get a hard copy of this, we can get it up on the website. The first thing I would say is you got to be proactive, all right? You don't want to wait for that magic carpet ride to come through. It's not going to happen for most of us that play the game. Obviously, there's a few talented people that are here in this Denver area that, you know, that are very, very, very talented players. They're not going to have to worry about it. But for most of us, the average Joe like myself, we got to initiate this thing. And we got to do it with a plan. We can't wait around for some school to come and say, oh yeah, come play for me, I'm going to do this or do that. Because if you do that, you might be left out in the cold, but also, it's probably not going to be the school that's going to meet your academic needs. So first of all, when we're being proactive, I would suggest that even these 2020 guys that are freshmen in high school, that you're starting to develop a dream list, or a list of schools that you would really want to go to because of the major and maybe the program that it offers lacrosse-wise that will be a supplement or a complement to the school that's going to give you the education and the school that you really want to go to. Also, I would say in that list that you got to have a lot of schools that if you never played a day of lacrosse, that you still want to be there. And I think that's really, really important as you move forward, because believe it or not, in a lot of cases, the kids that go away to play lacrosse, there's going to be a high number that are not going to end up playing for one reason or another. Whether they get hurt and never play, whether they find it too demanding and they can't do it with their studies. And you want to be at a place that you're still going to have fun and meet your academic goals. You're not at this school because a coach just happened to call you a lot and you liked them, and it didn't have your major, it probably cost way more than you wanted to pay to go to school, that you find that list, all right? And you start with that list in this active procedure. But the next thing is, I believe, that you got to get a hold of them, and you got to contact them, all right? And this is what I really think you should do, all right, especially for everybody that's in this room that's going forward, is that you come up with an email, all right? And this, I call this the one-stop shopping email, all right? And this is what we want as coaches, all right? I don't want to talk to you or your mom 97 times to get the things that I need and all coaches need. So as you go through this process, you come up with this email, and these are the ingredients that I think that you got to have in that email to really get somebody inspired. What you want to do in this email is you want to inspire me, all right? You want me to inspire me to the point that when I get done reading that email, I want to come and watch you play, all right? And if I don't come and watch you play, I'm going to get somebody that I know who can do that, so we can really find out if you're for real and it's a good fit. So when we talk about this email, a couple things. First of all, we don't want the email to be one of the emails that you came up with this list or your club coach gave you that had 7,000 schools on it. When I open this email, I don't want to see that it's went to 400 colleges. I want to see that the email came, all right, from you directly to me, all right? And then I want to see that it's addressed to me, not the coach of another school because you made a mistake in this mass thing that your club coach told you to do, all right? That you got my name on it, or whatever coach, and that's the only email on that. And mom and dad, I don't want this email from you. I want this email from them. All right? And I don't want it to be your email address either. It could be CC'd to you, all right? But I want this to come from them. Next thing, we start the email off with a very short introduction, all right? I don't need the history of your life, where you went to Boy Scout camp or Girl Scout camp and all that stuff. I just need a real short, brief paragraph about yourself. So I kind of won a good example for you of my son. I just took him, he's an older guy now, but this is what he was in high school. And it might get a coach or one of these coaches inspired, and they might want to contact him. So it goes something like this. My name is Jim Berkman, and I'm from state champion Parkside High School. I was a two-time high school All-American, and I finished my career with close to 400 points and one of the state of Maryland's all-time leading scorers. I'm a business major, and I'm extremely interested in what your university and the Lacrosse program have to offer. Enclosed is my academic and athletic information. I look forward to your response. Now, that short, sweet, tells me a little bit about Kyler. He obviously knew how to score, and he's a business major. And he played on a state championship team, so he must not be too bad. All right? Now, the next thing to this one-stop shopping. All right? We've got to have some attachments. First attachment. All right? And for you younger guys, this has to be updated on a regular basis. The first attachment is your transcript at that point in time. So if you just finished your freshman year and you're contacting me, I got your grades through your freshman year. At the end of your sophomore year, I got the grades at the end of your sophomore year. All right? I don't have a transcript of one semester, one quarter. I want to see the whole picture. Don't send me your sophomore grades and say, yeah, coach, I got started a little slow, but I was really good this semester. I got to see with the whole picture. You got to give us the whole picture. And we're sooner or later going to have it. So don't beat around the bush. Let's get to the point. So that's number one. Number two, in an attachment, all right, I want the transcripts of whatever test you have at that point. All right, the SAT, the ACT, the PSAT. All right, and I want the good and I want the bad, because it's all going to come out. You took the SAT the first time, I know you went to the dance, you had a football game the next day, and you didn't do very well. Well, I still want to see that. Don't tell me, oh yeah, I didn't take them, because I'm going to find that out. Don't tell me, oh yeah, I'm taking 2 months later, and I'll get you the scores out then when you already have them. All right? Just the whole picture. We want to see the whole picture. And with this early recruitment, taking the PSAT a lot earlier for most of you really helps us get a bigger picture of what you are qualified for academically. Not only to get into the school, hey, but what potential merit money you may be available for. Third attachment. All right? So I want a real short highlight you. Everybody's a little bit different. Each coach probably likes a little bit different thing. I don't have time for a whole game or to break down the 9 times you touched it. All right? I need a highlight film, and I only want it to be about 2 to 3 minutes. Show me some good stuff, all right? And show me stuff that's relative to your position. Look, I saw a couple pretty good young defensemen out here tonight. All right? And I saw you carry the ball up the field. But when you play defense, you do a lot more than carry the ball up the field. Don't send me your highlights of running and clearing. That's what I see all the time. You running and clearing the ball. I want to see a man up, turn a guy back at the goal line. I want to see a physically scoop a ground ball in a pack and move away from people. All right? I want to see a slide to somebody like you have some intelligence on defense. All right, so that's the third thing. And again, that can be just a simple link. Now, coach's recommendations. Not a bad idea. You get a short little blurb. I don't know if you have to have them at this point, But again, we're trying to do one-stop shopping. I don't want to have to call you back. If that's important to me as a coach, and say, yeah, can you give me a couple recommendations? Let's have those up front. All right, next thing. Again, we're the same email. This isn't 5 emails. This is 1 email. You got your contact information. Got your cell number, all right, your right emails, all that stuff. So if I need to call you back, all right, I can do that right away. Then, I want all your other contact information so we don't have to go back and forth. I want your high school coach, all right, and I want his email, and I want his cell number. I want all your club coaches. So for your Colorado 2020 team, I want Coach Parks. You're on the 3D, I want the 3E coach. You're on the Denver Elite, I want all of those coaches' numbers too. Then, if you're fortunate enough, because mom and dad have enough money and a commitment, you have some training coaches that do shooting with you, or goalie, or whatever that may be. I want those guys too. Alright? Because in a lot of cases, our paths have crossed before. You're in Denver, you're working with a FOGO coach, I happen to know him, because I used to coach him somewhere along the line, I'm going to call him. Alright? So any training coaches that you have, I'd like to have their emails and cell numbers also. And then lastly, I'd like to have your counselor's email and her school number. So if I need to ask her some questions, I don't have to get back to you. Alright? If you put all this in this email, you send it to me, and it looks like on the film that this is a good fit, it's going to inspire me to get right back to you. Alright, it's going to inspire me to come watch you play in person, and it's going to inspire me to invite you on campus for a visit. Alright? Everybody's busy these days. Alright? All that information, in a lot of cases, that's 10 different emails. Us going back and forth, alright? Because it expedites everything. And when we talk about early recruitment, alright, 12 years ago, we recruited 1 class. Right now, in January of your senior year, you'd be coming for a visit, maybe the first one. Alright? And we'd be dealing just with the senior class. Right now, and I'm not at the D1 high level, but I'm at a pretty competitive level, at D3. I'm recruiting 4 classes. Alright? And it's a lot. Alright? So if you guys expedite the process, make things a lot easier for everybody. Any questions on that point? Coach, do you want to add anything about the context?
Yeah, I'll say one thing. If you want us to contact you and give us your contact information, make sure you set up your voicemail on your phone and you respond to emails and you respond to text messages. I can't tell you how many kids that I send information out to trying to get in contact with them, and I can never get in contact. So I just take that email they send me and put it in the trash can.
There's a bunch of different rules. They're different by levels. You know, in Division III, there's really no rules. Okay. All right. I don't think there's a whole lot of issues.
I mean, NAI is very similar to the Division III. There's no contact rules. You can contact whenever, have a conversation whenever. We can pull you aside after a game, have a conversation, talk about scholarships, all that stuff.
Division I and Division II have rules about when they can call you, how often they can call you. But the D3s, there isn't really any rules. As long as you're in high school, you're pretty much fair game.
And
all right.
You can find the blackout windows on the NCAA website.
And again, those only apply to Division I and II. There's no blackout dates for Division III or the other schools.
And most coaches, hold on a second, Chris, most coaches in D1, D2 will put on their voicemail, realize I cannot speak to you in these windows of time. So if you call them, and they don't want you to feel like the door has been shut. Chris?
And, just be smart about your contact information when it comes to social media. Okay? Because a coach, if it gets down to them really starting to look at a player, they're going to look at Facebook and they're going to look at some other social media avenues. And think smart on that, guys. I've heard of guys losing chances to go play for schools because they forgot about their Facebook page.
Great point, Cole. It's one of the first things.
Make sure
It's better without the mic,
Yeah,
actually.
we can hear you better without the mic.
Yeah, Mike's
The
touching
mic's
right.
kind of annoying. It
Is it
echoes.
okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
personally, that's one of the first things I look at. Obviously, get the email look and they look at a little bit of video. But then if we look up on Twitter or any social media that's out there, and if there's a bunch of shenanigans going on, it's like, all right, delete, done. So nobody wants to mess with that at the next level.
Just think smart.
All right, number 3, tip, clubs. All right, these are my thoughts on clubs from my experience of coaching for 34 years. All right, they're a complement to the journey. All right, they're not the end all. They're a complement to the journey. All right, what are you looking for in a club coach? Everywhere you go, I know it's out here a little bit, but in other places it's extremely competitive between clubs. You're looking for committed coaches with knowledge who are positive. All right? I think that's extremely important. They're committed to the game. All right? And not only are they committed, the second thing you're looking for, if you're going to pay somebody to help your son get better, is the only way you get better is by practicing. All right? And a committed club has practices. They don't just say, hell yeah, we're going to a tournament, and they collect all the good guys, and then they go play in a tournament. And you're paying them the same fee that you're paying another coach where you could go practice a couple times, all right, and learn to play together, and then learn to highlight your skills. So I think if it's a good club, and I know from my experience, they're usually practicing a couple times a week over a period of time leading into the tournaments, or they're going on a weekend, and they're just together and practicing and developing relationships, getting to know your game, and helping you develop. So when you look at a club, I think it's important, especially when you're paying a tremendous amount of money, that you're practicing. You're not just going to playing games. Thirdly, and I think that there's a vast difference from club to club. All right, you're looking for coaches who consistently evaluate you, and they aid you in the recruiting process. All right, that's what clubs are about. They're about developing you, all right, at a higher level. But they're also there to aid in this recruiting process because most of them have been around the block, all right, to help you. And it really irritates me when a kid comes into my office and he's a sophomore or junior, and I ask him, hey, you've talked to Coach Joe, about college. What does he think's a good fit? We haven't really talked to Coach Joe. He doesn't really talk a whole lot about that. If he's not doing those things, you need to find another club because that's what you bought, right? You're paying for the club to get exposure, to help you develop so that you can get a college opportunity in most cases. All right? And if he's not communicating to you what you need to do and what are good fits, making some calls for you, he's not doing your job. All right? He's not living up to the expectations, what I think he probably told you in the first place. So if you come into my office or wherever you go, all right, I think it's important that you're going there and you know that your coach, Johnny Doe, whoever he is, has said, yeah, Salisbury could be a good fit. I'm familiar with the coaches, the level of play. That's a good fit for you. All right? If you've never had that conversation, I think you're getting shortchanged quite a bit. Obviously, the fourth thing, cost. Are they reasonable for the services rendered? All right? Every club varies in cost. Some are extremely expensive, some are not. The last thing I would say about clubs, all right, again, they're a supplement, they're a complement to the journey. All right? They're not the end all. Your high school is important. All right? Your relationship with your high school coach, the development of your team in high school, that's important. And I know a lot of people have to weigh, not so much, I know there's a couple teams out here like, hey, you got to play in the high school coach's club team. all right? And he has his own club, and there's pressure there, all right? I hope that doesn't weigh or determine where you're going to end up because of that. But what do clubs do? They allow you to play at a higher level. They allow you to play faster, which makes you better, and they assist in the transition to the college game, all right? Because you're playing at that higher level. They're definitely an asset. Next tip about summer ball, club ball. Don't overdo it, all right? You don't need to play in 9 tournaments next summer. You don't need to play in 5 tournaments. I think if you play in 2 or 3 good things, that's enough. All right? That's enough. Really hit home with me this year. All right? We had a kid come from Northern Jersey, a very good player. All right? Outstanding attackman, playing a very competitive club team that's always on that Sunday in the last game, playing in the championships. All right? He played in 7 tournaments. 7 weekends in a row. All right? And a team that was always going to that championship, which meant he was always playing 6, 7 games every weekend. Last tournament, fatigue is set in, been doing it for 7 weeks, blows his knee out. All right? It's too much. All right? And you guys know, you play a couple tournaments, Sunday, it's getting late, it's the 5th or 6th game, fatigue, you're making yourself vulnerable. Do 2 or 3 things and do them to the best of your ability. You don't need to do 5. You don't need to do 7. All right? Because my point is, when we talk about playing all those times, now you're not training. All right? It's a great tournament here this weekend. You get to play in 3 games, right? Is that what we're playing? 3 games, guaranteed. Now, a lot of you have played 2 games already, 1 game, right? You come over here and you're playing 3 games and you're a midi. You got to be pretty good. You got 5 shots in the game today, right? Play 3 games, you get 15 shots. And I don't know what it costs you to play in here this weekend. I'm sure it's not for free, right? That you took 15 shots. Now, to me, if you're going to take 15 shots this weekend, you're probably not getting a whole lot better in regards to being a better shooter. So instead of playing all these tournaments, go play in 3 tournaments. Because I know those other weekends, if you got a ball bucket with 150 balls, and you go out and shoot for an hour, you're going to shoot 450 or 500 shots. Now, how are you going to become a better shooter? 15, 450. Now, I'm not a math major, but I can figure that one out. All right? But you got to learn to practice more on the journey and the process by yourself, because that's what's going to make you great. Tournaments aren't going to make you great by playing 9. Go play 3. I think that's something you got to think about, especially out here. Because every time you guys go somewhere, it's not just $75 to go play that weekend and you got to travel and all the other things. That it's a boatload of pressure on your mom and dad. All right, next thing, showcases. All right? Showcases. Some people now are not playing in clubs. I'm seeing this a lot now because of the cost, and they think the showcase thing is the answer. I don't think it's the answer for the clubs, but it does serve a purpose. But don't just go to showcases. You go to showcases with a purpose. All right? And what I mean by that, they fill a void for the areas that your club doesn't go and play that you might want to go to school. All right? A lot of you are going, you're on a good club team here. Maybe you go back east and you play in the Maryland area. All right? And you play a tournament out here and then you go and play in California. But man, you're really smart and you're thinking Ivy League and you're thinking NESCAC. Well, just because you came to Maryland, you're not getting seen by the NESCAC coaches. You got to get up in New England at an event where those NESCAC coaches are going to be at. So you go to a showcase in New England, offered by one of the clubs on a Friday or Saturday, where you know those coaches from Tufts, Amherst, Middlebury, Bowdoin are going to be at, so that you can get this exposure. To me, that's why you go to a showcase. All right? That's important. And that happens especially with you people out here and California kids. Your clubs don't go to anywhere where you really want to go to school. So you don't get the exposure. I think that's where the showcase fills the void. All right? And then I don't think, personally, from my experience, that most of the clubs, they want to make money. So you go to a tournament. Now, what's every tournament have on Friday? They have a showcase that's individual on Friday, and then they have your tournament. All right? If you're going to already be there for the weekend playing with your club, my personal opinion is you don't need to go play in the showcase on Friday for 2 reasons. Number one, it's going to cost a whole lot more that weekend. And 2, more importantly, now we're setting you up for even more fatigue. Now we're setting you up for even more injury. Because you're going to go all day on Friday, 3 games in practice with the showcase, 3 more games on Saturday, 3 more games on Sunday. Next thing you know, boom, you tweak something because it's overuse. All right, so think of that about that a little bit. Next thing that we all talk about now, and every coach has kind of got them in most cases, is the prospect camps. Probably a lot of you have already been inundated by that a little bit. I think prospect camps are great. All right, I love them. All right, because I get to see somebody play for 4 hours straight. All right, I don't see you play half of a game, go to the next field, watch another tournament play, and I see you touch the ball twice. Now, if a prospect camp's done right, you're going to go to a school, hopefully it's one of your main schools. You're going to practice in front of the coaches for about an hour and a half, if they're doing it right. You're going to do their drills. You're going to touch the ball a lot. If you're a goalie, you're going to see a lot of rubber so that we can see if we can save the ball. And then we're going to scrimmage for 2.5 hours after. So we're going to see you play for 4 hours. It'll be the best money you ever spent if it's at the right places. So when you're picking prospect camps, again, because of the cost, you're not just picking prospect camps because it's a school you're never going to go to. Yeah, kids, well, yeah, I went to the Maryland prospect camp. Why'd you go to the Maryland prospect camp? Maryland's not recruiting you. It's a total waste of money. All right? Find the schools that you've got it down to. Go to their prospect camp. It's a great fit. You get to know the coaches better because you see them coach for 4 hours. They get to know you, all right? They can tell a lot better what your potential is. You get to see their field. For you guys, when you do it from here, you know, you come in one day, you get to see the campus, hopefully set up to meet the coach. So, like, again, one-stop shopping. You got to visit, they visit, and you got your prospect camp out of the way at the same time. Now, a couple of things when you're researching prospect camps. All right, my advice would be that you look at the prospect camp, how it's operated in the past. All right, there's a couple guys on the East Coast, all they're going to do is making money. Go to prospect camp at X school, North Carolina, and there's 220 kids at it. That's not a prospect camp. That's a cattle show. All right, that's a cattle show. The head coach doesn't even see it. All right, a good prospect camp is usually in the neighborhood of 35 to 50 kids. Has set number of kids by position to form 3 teams, probably maximum. And it's all on one field. It's not on multiple fields, because then the coaches don't see you. You want to be on one field so the coaches see you the whole time. All right? I think that's important when you're looking at prospect camps. All right? And then lastly about prospect camps, when you sign up for one, you're going there because you're thinking really about going to that school. You want to ask the coach, Coach, what do you guys do about evaluations? All right? Are you going to give us some feedback, or are you just going to leave us hanging? All right? And one of my pet peeves is when you come to Salisbury, and I hope that some other coaches are starting to get it. Within 48 hours, you got 1 of 3 things. All right? Hey, 1, we're offering you a spot because we think you're really good. Number 2, we're saying, hey, you're pretty good, but you know what? You're only 14 years old. We got to see if you're going to gain more weight than the 122 pounds you're at right now. All right? And you're 4'11". But we're going to watch you. All right? Now, there's some guys out here like that tonight. There's some good prospects, but some of you got to grow a little bit. Some of you got to get stronger. Some of you got to shoot harder. All right? And we're going to watch you grow, and we're going to follow you. We're going to recruit you. But it's not yet a spot guy. And then thirdly, we're going to say it's not a good fit. Not a good fit for you, because you're not going to get to play a lot. It's not a good fit for us. Now, you may not want to hear that, but in the end, when it's all said and done, you respect the coaches because they got back to you. All right? And they did it quickly, so that you know whether you got to move on and go to another place. Those are my thoughts on prospect camp. You guys want to add anything on prospect camp?
No, I mean, I think that's all good stuff. I mean, specifically our campus, is, like you said, Coach, is smaller. I mean, we've got about 25 to 30 kids every year that we bring in to take a look at. And it's one field, and it's a good time to meet the team too. I think it's a big benefit. You hang out with the team a little, have dinner with them and stuff like that, and kind of know the guys, character of the guys on the squad. So it's a great opportunity for guys.
Okay, next thing in the recruiting journey, and a lot of you are doing this right now, is the individual training sessions, the tutoring sessions that you pay to go with somebody individually to become a better player. Now, I think there's a couple things. I think they're good if it's by somebody that knows what they're doing, all right? And I think it's important when you're doing these kind of training sessions that he's attacking the things that you don't do well. You're not just going with him to just go do something. You're going there to get better at something you don't do well. You're a shooter that has poor mechanics, and he's teaching you to shoot the ball the right way, and you become a better shooter, all right? They're attacking those things, and they're repping them, and repping them, and repping them so you can learn how to shoot with proper mechanics, all right? You go to an individual coach because maybe you're a pretty good player, but you don't have any moves. We see this all the time. Guy shoots the ball pretty good. He comes to college, never gets any shots off. I say, man, that guy shoots to 100 miles an hour and he never gets any shots. Why? He can't create space. He doesn't have any moves. That individual guy, if he's good, can start to develop some individual moves to help you create space. 3, individual training. If you're a specialty player and you don't get that training with your club, all right, or your high school coach. A lot of you go to high school coach, your goalie. Next thing you know, man, all of a sudden balls are flying at you. You didn't have proper warm-up. You didn't get any technique drills. And you're kind of just left out in the cold. Your high school coach doesn't know a lot about goalies, and he doesn't spend a whole lot of time. All right? You're the face-off guy. Yeah? In most high schools, you're forgotten about. Until you get yelled at because you're not winning the face-offs. Well, you're not winning the face-offs because you're not getting any technique. You're not getting any coaching. All right? The individual training guys, if they're good, can really help those areas, and it's money well spent. Next tip, multiple sports. All right? As a college coach, when we look at that email, we get excited about, hey, you play football? Yeah. Play basketball? Yeah. Man, I'm excited about you. All right? Already, because you play 3 sports. The age of specializing is killing most people right now. All right? It's killing most people. Why do I say that? Because when you get to me, you're not ready now. If you're just playing lacrosse, you're not ready. All right? You're not ready to compete at the next level. Why? Because you're not used to the rigor. And you get to me, and you think, man, it's too much. Coach Berkman expects too much from me. Man, we're working out 6 days a week. We're doing it all the time. Man, it's too much. I'm burnt out. No. If you were playing football, you would have been doing something every day, 6 days a week for 2.5 hours. If you were playing basketball, you're doing the same thing. All right? And then lacrosse season comes, it's the same thing. So you go to college, now you get to specialize. All right? But you're used to it. It's no big deal. I'm used to playing football for 2.5 hours on Friday, but no. Now I'm going to do CrossFit, and I'm going to shoot for an hour and a half on Friday at Salisbury for the ball. It's no big deal. But if you don't do that all the time, you're not ready for that, and you think it's too much. All right? Number 2, why do we want you to do it? Because you learn how to compete. You learn how to be competitive every day. All right? If you're out there in football and you're not competitive, you get knocked on you know what. All right? If you're not competing in basketball, all right, you're not getting quicker. We want guys to play 3 sports. We want guys that are out there getting it done every day, because then they're ready for us. All right? Because in college, you got to compete every day. Right now in high school, you don't have to compete every day. In high school right now, you can take a lot of days off, because your team doesn't have that many good players. In college, there is no days off. You're pretty good. You come practice our school and take a day off, man, you just got toasted and you got burned. Somebody ripped a shot in the upper right-hand corner 85 miles an hour. Because you're not ready. You're not ready to compete. All right? You got to learn to compete every day. It reduces burnout, overuse injuries, and doing the same thing all the time. Teaches coachability, because you've been coached by more people. Maybe some people you don't like, but that's good. It's good to get coached by somebody you don't like once in a while. All right? because it just makes you a better man, a better person. But we're looking for that. That's very, very important. Now, just a couple quick things in closing here from me. All right? And this is my advice. If you want to be ready to play when you get to me, what do you got to do? All right? When you show up, you arrive to college, you're a man, you're not a boy. All right? You're strong, you're physically fit. All right? And you've been doing some training. As much as we know about strength training, a lot of you are doing it, but a lot of you still aren't. Something about lacrosse guys. All right? They don't think that weight room's important. A lot of lacrosse guys still don't get it. It's unbelievable how many lacrosse guys just don't get it. And if you don't do it and you show up to us, and in most cases any school, you're going to say, whoa, now I have to become a man. So the whole first year is ruined because you just been becoming a man. So you're in the bottom of the depth chart. Do your due diligence. Get in the weight room and get going. All right? When you get to college, you should be able to bench press your body weight 10 times. If you're 180, you should be able to do it 10 times if you're a man and you've been doing something. You should be able to do 15 legit pull-ups. You should be able to do 25 dips. You should be able to run a mile and a half in 9 minutes. That's our test at Salisbury. We've been doing it for 25 years. 30 years, actually. All right? If a freshman walks in, all right, at our school we have clubs. All right? If a freshman walks in and everybody's tested in front of everybody, and this happens at most places. You walk in there and you're doing your bench press test. It's not just you and the coach. All right? Nobody else is watching. If we were doing the bench press tonight, you'd be right out here, and everybody'd be watching you. All right? And you put on your 160 or 180 pounds. All right? And everybody's like, man. But if you walk in as a freshman and you can do all the tests, you're now in the gold club. Immediately, about 5 things happen. Number 1, the coaches are impressed. Number 2, maybe more importantly, your teammates are impressed. Man, that guy respects our program. He showed up. He's a man. All right? And number 3, the work, the journey, the process to get you to that point, all right, has given you now the confidence and the belief, all right, that effort equals outcome. The most important lesson you're going to learn in life. And it happened through the weight room. So arrive a man, otherwise it takes a year to become a man in most cases. All right? Recruiting starts earlier every year, so school matters from the day you get in high school. You got to do well. All right? Number 3, somebody's always watching. All right? Somebody's always watching. It's important. That's why I think it's important to only play 3 tournaments, not 7. You can't play 7 tournaments, and you can't play every shift like it's your last. All right? But when you're playing these tournaments, and a lot of you are going to these club things, all right, somebody's always watching, and you may not see them. And I always use this example. All right? Hopkins on your list. All right? You want to go to Johns Hopkins. All right? You're back in Maryland. It's the 3rd tournament of the summer. Man, the humidity in Maryland just got you right now. You're sweating vigorously. It's been a rough weekend because it's been 95, and you're beat up. And it happens to be the 3rd game, or the last game on Sunday after you've played 5 games. Second half, you're a midi. All right? How you feeling? How you feeling? You're a little tired, right? How's mom and dad feeling? You're ready to go home, right? You guys want to get out of Dodge. You want nothing to do with this game. But you know, you didn't see him, but you know who's sitting over there behind that pillar right now? It's Coach Petramala. And he's watching you, and you don't know that. All right? And you just ran down, and you took a shot that wasn't a good shot, felt sorry for yourself, goalie makes a save, and the ball's flying down the other way right now to the guy who's guarding. It was a great outlet. Instead of you running that guy down, because it's the 3rd game on Sunday afternoon, what are you doing? You're running to the bench. Petramala's saying to himself, that kid's a dog. What kind of teammate is he? He's not a good teammate. He doesn't play every shift like it's his last. When you play in these tournaments, play every shift like it's your last. That's the way you should play all the time. All right? And because you never know who's going to be watching. If somebody's watching, you want to leave a great impression. Couple of little nitpick things for me is that creating a habit of mastery. All right? So not only you got to arrive a man, all right, you got to arrive with a skill set that is ready to play college lacrosse. And to do that, you can never do enough wall ball, and you can never do enough shooting if you're an offensive player. All right? And in most cases, a lot of you in this room who are pretty talented kids, you get away with excelling just because you have a dominant hand, all right, and you get away with it. So it doesn't force you to get better at other parts of the game. We have 2 outstanding freshmen in our team this year. One's a 6'5" kid that weighs 220, all right, and another kid's about 190, and they're both fast, and they're extremely talented. Great club players. One was from the Dukes. A lot of you know who the Dukes are, all right. One was from the big team in New Jersey, and they're our top recruits, who turned down Division I scholarships to come and play at Salisbury because they wanted to win a championship. All right? It was always okay for them. One's a lefty and one's a righty. All right? And when I see them put the stick in their other hand, I get sick. All right? I get sick of how bad it is. All right? So to run offense in college, you got to have both hands. All right? If you're a righty and you dodge down the alley hard right-handed, you're never going to get a shot in college. Never the first time. The defenses are too good. So you're going to have to step back, throw back to the other side. Either cross your body, or you're going to turn to the outside and throw with your left hand. Neither one of them can do that well enough with their offhand that we can put them on the field as freshmen. So now for a whole year, and they're working hard, and they're going to get it, that wall ball talk that you used to get from Coach Berkman and everybody else wherever you went, now it's important. And every day at 12:30, who's out back in my office? All right, it's those 2 guys doing wall ball because they really want to play. But now it's makeup time. All right? We always say to our guys, you got to give an uncommon effort at the common things. All right? An uncommon effort at the common things. An uncommon effort at wall ball is not once or twice a week like most of you do right now. It's 5 to 7 times a week. All right? An uncommon effort of shooting is not going out